Even wounded, it grows. The incredible message of encouragement from the trees. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of new videos. Marina stopped in front of the purple ipe tree that dominated the backyard of the house she had just bought. The tree was magnificent, its twisted branches reaching for the sky like arms in celebration. But there was something different about it. A deep scar cut across the main trunk, an old mark that someone had tried to disguise with time and the patience of nature itself. "This tree almost died," said Mr. Tomas, the elderly neighbor who had been tending the garden for decades. He emerged from the side gate with a watering can in his hands and a gentle smile on his wrinkled face. "A lightning bolt struck it 15 years ago. I thought it wouldn't survive." Marina touched the rough bark, feeling the uneven texture of the healed wound. "But it's beautiful," she murmured, admiring how the branches spread vigorously above the mark. "That's exactly where the lesson lies," said Mr. Tomas, approaching. "Trees don't surrender to their wounds. They grow around them, over them, through them." At that moment, Marina had no idea how much she would need that lesson. The first few months in the new house were a roller coaster. Marina had moved to start over after a painful divorce, leaving behind not only a 10-year marriage but also the company she had built with her ex-husband. Starting from scratch at 38 seemed daunting. Some mornings, she woke up with the weight of defeat crushing her chest. It was on one of those difficult mornings that she returned to the backyard. The spring sun filtered through the leaves of the ipe tree, creating dancing patterns on the ground. Marina sat on the wooden bench at the foot of the tree and cried. She cried for the life she had lost, for the dreams that had crumbled, for the trust that had been shattered. When she finally wiped away her tears, her eyes fell again on the large scar on the tree trunk. There it was, visible and deep, but absolutely overcome. The tree hadn't pretended that the wound had never happened. It hadn't tried to hide it or deny it. It had simply continued to grow. "How did you do it?" Marina whispered to the tree, feeling foolish for talking to a plant, but desperately needing answers. Old Tomas appeared again, as if he had a sixth sense for moments of crisis. "May I sit down?" Marina nodded, and the old man settled down beside her with a satisfied sigh. "Do you know what I've learned from observing this tree all these years?" he began. "After the lightning struck it, I thought I should cut it down. It seemed like the right thing to do. But my late wife, Dona Lucinia, convinced me to wait. Let's give it a chance," she said. He paused, his eyes shining with memories. In the first year, the tree barely produced any leaves. It seemed dead, except for a single stubborn branch at the top. Everyone told me to cut it down. But that little branch remained green, alive, persistent. Marina found herself leaning forward, absorbed in the story. In the second year, 2 new branches appeared. In the third, 5. The tree wasn't just surviving, it was reconfiguring itself. It was discovering new ways to grow, new paths to the light. Seu Tomas pointed to the upper branches. "See that denser part at the top? It all grew after the lightning strike. It's even stronger and more luxuriant than the original." "But the scar remained," Marina observed. "Yes, it remained. And do you know why? Because the scar is part of its history. It's proof that it survived. Trees are wise like that. They don't waste energy trying to erase the past. They use that energy to create the future." Marina felt something stir within her chest, a small seed of hope beginning to germinate. In the following weeks, Marina began to observe the tree with new eyes. She noticed how, in the scar, small insects found shelter. Birds perched there to peck at the bark in search of food. The old wound had become part of an ecosystem, useful and integrated into the life of the tree. Inspired, Marina began to apply the philosophy of the ipe tree to her own life. She stopped trying to hide her divorce or pretend that she wasn't starting over. When she met new people and they asked about her work, she answered honestly, "I'm building something new. I'm starting over." She discovered that vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was fertile ground. She started small, offering her graphic design services as a freelancer. Her first client was a local flower shop, the very one that supplied seedlings to Mr. Tomas. The second was a music school, then a restaurant. Each project was a new branch growing towards the light. There were rejections. There were nights of insecurity. There were moments when the wound of the past hurt intensely, like phantom pains from an amputated life. But Marina had learned from the ipe tree. Keep growing. Grow around the pain, over it, through it. A year later, during the spectacular flowering of the ipe tree, Marina organized a small party in her backyard. Her new clients had become friends. Neighbors joined in. Mr. Tomas was the guest of honor, naturally. Under the cascade of purple flowers, Marina raised a toast. To this tree, she said, raising her glass, which taught me that scars are not the end of the story. They are just chapters that prove we keep writing. Later, when the guests had left and the sun was setting in orange hues, Marina touched the scar on the trunk again. The bark was warm under her fingers, alive and pulsating. "Thank you," she whispered. A gentle breeze stirred the branches, raining purple petals around her, like a silent and fragrant answer. Mr. Tomas was right. Trees are wise teachers. They show us that life is not about avoiding wounds. That's impossible. Lightning strikes, storms come, branches break. What matters is the choice we make afterward. We can wither and die, trapped in the pain of what we've been hit by. Or we can do like the trees, acknowledge the wound, integrate it into our story, and still keep growing. Growing doesn't mean forgetting. It means flourishing despite remembering. It means transforming the scar into a testament of resilience, not defeat. Marina learned this by observing a purple ipe tree in her backyard. And you? What wounded but flourishing tree exists in your life, waiting for you to notice its silent message of hope? Because even wounded, it grows. And you can too.